I am sitting at that ancient 8 immortals table in our parlor, staring blankly, my chin in my hands. As I look out at the drenched streets of the Westgate neighborhood, at the dripping eaves of the houses and the trickling branches of the trees, I think of the world beyond this old southern town, of the world I long for. And I am thinking, what am I doing here in Old Town? What am I doing living in this house? This is something I can never figure out. I long to leave Old Town. It's like being homesick for somewhere else. And I've often felt the worst kind of sadness sitting in this house at Westgate. I'm like a traveler in exile who has no idea of where she will ever find a home. Into this drenched and soaking street scene suddenly barges a familiar shape. Chao Fan! He stops abruptly and peers inside. He clearly sees me, but his look is so strange. He doesn't know me. He has never known me. He's just happened to bump into a silly girl staring blankly, chin propped up in her hands. He lets his momentary curiosity pass and is on his way again. This picture doesn't feel very logical. It is like some badly edited scene in a movie. Chao Fan, why don't you recognize me? I want to shout to him, but the sounds just won't come out. When I opened my eyes, I was in a moving railway car. The wheels rolled along, galing-galang, galing-galang. The coach swayed and rocked, and the green window curtain rested on my shoulder. I remained in a kind of trance, thinking of Chao Fan on the rain-soaked streets of Old Town. But whether I was still dreaming or not, I couldn't tell. The young man who had been sitting at my side returned to his seat, holding a glass brimming with steaming tea. He was with 2 others just like him, who sat directly across from me and chatted away in the Old Town dialect as if they hadn't a care in the world. Something about making some money up north by reselling dark glasses and fake name-brand watches smuggled in from the coast. In the late 1970s and the early 1980s, the term for smuggling, running private channel goods, was relatively new in China. My first impressions of this sort of thing had been positive. Private channel goods were the genuine article at a fair price, and people who ran such items were unusually resourceful. Right. They even asked me if I wanted to buy a Rolex. I had no idea what a Rolex was. They said it was Switzerland's very best wristwatch and had been imported privately from Taiwan. I knew only that Titoni watches were from Switzerland, and my mother wore one. I had heard that my grandfather, her father, gave it to her as part of her dowry. The watch core was inlaid with 17 diamonds, and I used to wish it would break so that I could get those 17 diamonds, though I had never in my life seen a diamond. The 3 private channel elements spoke to me in Mandarin, taking me for a northern guy. Old Town people thought I grew up looking more and more northern. I had a round face, fair with the slightest tinge of red, and I was taller than most of the girls in Old Town. Grandma looked at me anxiously once and said, "You mustn't grow any more. If you get any bigger, you might have a hard time getting married." And the blood of Northerners really does course through my veins. I was born in the little town of Kashgar, far away on the Xinjiang border. The father I had never seen was a Northern guy. From his photograph, I knew I looked like him. I looked like him a lot. The train suddenly slowed, and the fellow holding the glass of tea was caught off balance. As he staggered, boiling tea poured onto my leg, and I yelled out in pain. The 3 young men said, "Sorry," all together in their Old Town accented Mandarin. My head cleared up completely under all this pain, but my hand didn't reach down to soothe my scalded thigh. Instead, it automatically felt for the envelope hidden at my breast. In that envelope was my university admission notice, while 150 yuan were safely tucked in a pocket in my underwear. I finally believed this was no dream. I really was on a journey and leaving Old Town far behind.